Hello, Uncle Jim here. Today I want to share with you how I did last month. I had another really good month. I'll actually, at the very end of this video, go over my trades, but I want to go into a bit more detail about what makes me unique, how I trade, and how I kind of look at my trading as a way to really generate quite a bit of extra cash to give me the opportunity to be financially independent and do what I want to do. So stay tuned. I think you're really going to enjoy what I have for you today. First of all, thank you for joining me, and let's go ahead and jump in. The first thing I want to talk about is how I really sell options, both puts and calls, primarily covered calls and cash secured puts and vertical put credit spreads, as a way to really generate quite a bit of cash. I've been able to generate between 2,500 and 3,000 in cash, and that's very passive. I don't do a lot of trading. For instance, when I share my trades at the end of this, I only did 14 trades last month, and I probably spent a total of 7 or 8 hours for the whole month. So I really like that ability to be passive. I'm still doing coding. I'm a software consultant, and I'm still doing coding and working with several clients. So it gives me the opportunity to kind of pick and choose and really feel financially independent. Being able to keep it as very passive as passive as possible. And then also, I want to mention that today's a perfect example. Today is April 21st, the beginning of the day. The market was up quite a bit. And I think because of some announcements from the Fed and stuff, that the market took a downturn. And before that downturn, there really wasn't a whole lot of premium. By being patient and sticking around, I had a really good afternoon. I think I did $400 to $500 at the end of the day just by being patient and waiting for the premium to show up. Sometimes the premium's just not there, and the best thing to do is just really kind of take the rest of the day off and do what you need to do. Do your work or do whatever else you need to do. Um, and then I really feel that planning and strategy is really important. I put out a planning worksheet every Monday, and I look at anything that is expiring over the next couple of weeks, and I make a plan to actually deal with those trades. Am I going to roll them? Am I going to close them? Am I going to let them expire or even be assigned? So I use that as really a way of planning. And then my strategy is I really stick to buying or selling options on companies that I want to own, really good value companies. And these are companies that pay dividends for the most part. There are some exceptions to that, but mostly it is companies that pay good dividends. So I want to own them. I want to keep them in my account so that I can earn good dividends. The other part of this is I've been doing 2,500 to 3,000 in premium from selling options, but I've also been doing around 1,500 or so. I think between 12 and 1,500 in dividends on a monthly average in these two accounts. Now I have other accounts, and if you combine everything between the dividends and the premium, it's quite a bit each month. And I'll go a little bit over that at the end of the video when I share my trades. But again, I had another good month. I did 2541. It wasn't as high as January and February. I think both of those months were over 3,000. But I did 2541 and only 14 trades, which is 181 average per trade. Um, and then March was an up month. I think it was up just a small amount, 3 to 4% in most of the indices, but it was very very volatile. So it was up one day and down the next, which really gives you a lot of opportunity to sell options and make some good premium. Um, so before we jump into looking at the trades, I do want to mention, please subscribe, hit that like button. If you want to join um, my Patreon, I've got two memberships. I've got what I call the Investors Club, where you're privy to all my trades and all my worksheets, and you can communicate with me directly through Patreon. And then I have a more expensive one that's only 25 a month, where you actually see my trades. We have a weekly meeting. We had one yesterday, which got really lively. We had people from as far as England, and we went over a lot of trades. And actually, some people share their different strategies. I share my strategy, and so it's been a good experience. So I encourage you to take a look. It's worth taking a look. Especially if you can make some good money by mimicking some of these same trades I do. A lot of my trades are rolling every month, so I usually have majority of them are rolling and a few that are new. And again, you'll see that when I share the actual spreadsheet. So that being said, let's jump into the next part. Okay, I've opened my spreadsheet. This is my trade journal from March, and let's go ahead and jump in and look at the trade. So the actually, before I do jump in, I do want to mention for March, and I'm going to include this in all my future spreadsheets. I did dividends of 922 for the month, which isn't bad. So when you look at the total, which I think was 2541, you add another 922, it's close to 3500. And dividends are really probably the most passive of any kind of an investment. So again, most of my investments in my brokerage are primarily dividend paying companies. So my goal is to actually increase that and have even more in dividends coming on a monthly average. So let's jump in. The first trade was a vertical put credit spread on Citigroup or Citi, and it was I sold to open at 52.50, and the outer strike was 42.50. The delta was 0.25, and I made $211 in premium, so not bad. And if I get assigned at 52.50, Citigroup or Citi is pays a good dividend. It's all my credit cards are with Citi, so it's a company I like. It's a company I know, and with the premium of 211, it's I guess a 10 spread. So not bad. $211 for a little bit over a month is a pretty good return. So, and let's jump into the next one. Is a cash secured put, BGFV. I believe this is a sporting goods company, and it's a cash secured put at 12 and a half, and that's why it's a cash secured put. It's fairly inexpensive. And I sold two contracts, and let's see, it was the reason it's in green over here. I made $268, and I did go a little farther out. The expiration is 7/15/22, but um, for the amount of premium I was able to get, I'm okay sometimes going a little farther out to gain a little bit more premium. So my highest premium trade for March and 268 is not bad. Now I do need to apologize. I probably sound a little raspy. I went with my son this past weekend to Bristol Motor Speedway, and we got to watch the dirt race, and what came out of it at the end was both of us got pretty bad colds. So hopefully I don't sound too raspy and I don't cough too much. So the third one is I rolled a vertical put credit spread in eBay, and eBay this is probably my fourth or fifth trade, and I've done quite well with it. Now it is pretty deep in the money. You can see I closed the 60.50 and I opened the 60.40. Um, so eBay is 55. It was when I started trading. It was in the 80s. So this is one that I had to roll that was $5 in the money, and I was still able to roll it and make $160, and it is two contracts. So again, not bad. I was able to roll it out to just the next month, 414, 318 to 414. So made 169. So not too bad. Next is Coke. This is another covered call roll that I did, and I rolled it from expiring on 318 out to 422, and I kept the same $60 strike price. And again, I own a lot of Coca-Cola, and it's partially because I inherited it when I was a teenager, so the cost basis is really low. So being able to sell covered calls on Coca-Cola, my plan is to keep all those and just make some good money off just selling covered calls. And for this trade, which isn't that long, it's a little bit over a month, but I made $181. Now Coke, I think, is as high as 66. It's been hitting all-time highs, which I guess is the flight to quality, but it's got one of its highest PEs lately. So I do think it's going to come back to reality. I wouldn't be surprised that over a couple months it's trading in the high 50 range again. Next is iRobot, and it's a cash secured put. I rolled it. Um, Kept the same strike. Actually, I lowered the strike price from 55 to 53, and I rolled it out to 429, so a little bit over a month, and I made 217, which isn't bad. And this is on one contract. So iRobot is one of those. It's a company I do like. It's been hit hard because of supply chain and the issue with chips, but it always has really good premium. I've been really surprised how much premium it has, and I'm only doing one contract. And again, I'd be okay with owning it, even though this is one of the exceptions to my rule of value companies. This is more of a growth company, even though it's going through a little bit of a tough time with supply chain. So again, 217, not bad on one contract with a little bit over a month. So not a bad return. Let's move on to LEG. Now LEG is probably one of my biggest problems right now. It's really gone way down. I think it was as high as the 60s, and now I believe I didn't put the actual price, but I think you can see how expensive it is. I think it's $4 or $5 in the money. And when I rolled it a little farther out to be able to make some premium, and I only made a little bit of premium, but it was kind of to avoid assignment. Um, and then I actually did a little bit of a wider spread. So I'm not quite ready to have it assigned, but at 45 again, I'm okay with owning it. I think at 45 it pays close to a 3.5 to 4% dividend. But I do think it's going to come back. It is tied into the furniture business, which is the housing. It's getting hit hard because of that, but it's been a good company, and I've been able to trade it. So I don't know. In the next video, I may end up having to actually let it be assigned and then sell cover calls on it. Next, I rolled a cash secured put, and then this is Smith and Wesson, and it's fairly deep in the money too. I think it's right around $15, and I closed it and rolled it out. I did it a little farther, um, and this is another one where I think it's going to come back and be above the $20 range. But again, I'd be okay with owning it at 20. But I was able to roll it. I guess it's 6 months out, so I did have to go a little farther out, and I did pick up $185 on two contracts. So, not bad. And it again, it is a cash secured put. Um, Next, I rolled WBA, which is Walgreens, and let's see, did a little bit more on the spread. I rolled it out a little farther again, out to June 17th, and so more like a 3 month expiration. And I picked up 192, and there's two contracts, and I believe it's been right around its strike price. I think it goes in and out of the money constantly. So it's been a good company to trade, and I have Walgreens right near me, and it's someplace I shop quite a bit. So not bad, 192. I did, of course, have to go a little farther out to get that kind of premium. Next is MU, which I think is Micron. Yeah, it's a vertical put credit spread. This is one of the new trades, so I opened it at 70. I sold a 70 strike, and then I bought a 60 contract. Both of these would expire in like 3 weeks. The delta was 0.194, so a little bit better than the 20 delta I typically like to look for. And I made $203, and literally, I guess that's a little less than a month. It's more like 3 weeks. So a pretty good return, and it was two contracts. So it was, I needed 2,000 in cash or margin to make 200. So that's again like a 10% return. In a little bit less than a month. So it's a little bit, if you look at it on a monthly basis, it's a little bit better than a 10% return. Next is Ford. In Ford, I've been at this 16, and one time I think it was at 22 or 23. It's come down. I believe it's a little bit lower than 16 currently. So I closed it. It was expiring on 325. I opened another contract for 429. And there's actually three contracts that I'm doing, and I made 188. So I've been consistently every month been able to do fairly well with Ford and make selling three contracts at this $16 price around $188, or between $150 and $200. So it's also been a good one, and I think it's going to come back up. It's been hit by supply chain, and the chips and things like that have hurt it a bit. But I really like its Lightning truck, and like I mentioned in other videos, I'm looking at actually purchasing or buying a F-150 XLT. Most likely is what I'm thinking about, and I may do that in probably the May to June time frame. So next, I did Cisco, another one I consistently like to do, and it's a good company, A rated, I believe, by Schwab. It pays a good dividend, pretty close to 3%, and it really has really good financials, and it's pretty much stayed out of the money in most times. It's usually between 52 53. I believe recently it may be fairly close to 50. This was a 22 delta. I did roll it out a little farther at the 617, so I did do a little bit of a farther expiration to pick up a little more premium, and I picked up 199.40 in premium on two contracts, which again, for anyone who's new to my channel, I try to get 200 or close to 200 on every trade. I think this month I averaged 181, and that I like to get in and out, and when I do the rolls, I usually can get in and out. So, but that's why you're seeing so many of these close to 200, because that's my goal. I want to every trade get pretty close to 200. Next is Corning, and then this was again another new position. So I sold it to open at 35. So that was a short. This is a vertical put credit spread, and then I opened the outer arm at 25. This was a 25 delta, and I picked up $135. This was two contracts. But Corning's another company I really like. It pays over a 3% dividend, and I actually own quite a bit of it. I think I own 400 shares. So I also write covered calls. So I'm writing cash secured puts, vertical put credit spreads, um, and cover calls all on Corning, and it's done quite well for me. And it stays within a fairly small range. I think between 35 and 45. It's stayed in that range for a long time. So next we're on the 13th trade. I rolled a cash secured put in Lumen, and Lumen is another one I like. It pays a really good dividend. I believe it's 6 or 7%, maybe as high as 8%. And because it's so inexpensive, I typically do it as a cash secured put. So I closed it at 10 and I opened a new one at 11, and currently I believe it's at 11 and a half. So it's stayed between that 9.5 and 11.5 range for a long time, and it pays some pretty good premium. Um, so it was expiring on 414, and I rolled it a little bit more than a month, and I picked up $170 on three contracts. So 3,000 to pick up 170, not bad for a little bit longer than a month. So again, another good return. And Lumen, for anyone who's getting started, if you're one of those, if you're new to doing this, Lumen is a great company to start with. You can do one trade at 10 or 11. You're only needing like $1,000 to $1,100 to do the one trade, and you can kind of get wet with it. You can learn how to sell a put, um, and it's just at a good price range, and you can always find some good contracts. It has a lot of interest, so I recommend it for anyone who's just getting started. Next is I think this is Visa, and I rolled a vertical put credit spread, and I pretty much stuck to the same dollars I did, the same strike prices, 52.50 and 42.50. So the short was 52.50, the outer arm was 42.50, and I rolled it out a little farther, more like 2 months, and I picked up $188 in premium. And again, these were two contracts. So, another fairly good trade. Um, and then again, another company that pays a good dividend that I'm interested in owning. So those are the 14 trades. Let's jump down here. So if you look at my account balances, this is like a 5% on this account. And again, this account is fairly right now I have a lot of cash. I've been able to build up quite a bit of cash with this, but it has stocks that I've owned for many, many years. So it's not just something I set up for selling options, but it adds on a yearly basis another 5%. So if you're one of those that adhere to the 4% rule, you can see, well, I can get 5% just selling options, not even including dividends. So again, the financial independence, you can reach it a lot quicker. You can I don't know. I'm not one of those that will ever truly retire. I like to stay busy and do these kinds of things. And I'm trying to teach my son as well as at some point my niece and nephew. So, and then um, here are some just basic notes. I did one covered call, I did five cash secured puts, so very few covered calls. And then I did eight vertical put credit spreads. So I primarily just puts, and a majority of them were vertical put credit spreads. I did nine rolls, five new trades. So majority again were rolls. Most I did was two trades on any specific day, and that's been kind of a trend. And typically I don't do more than five a week, three, four, five. And it's not like I'm cutting it off at that point. It's just a matter of how much time I have to get on the market and actually make some trades. In March, I got fairly busy with my consulting business, so there were days I missed where I could have gotten on the market and probably done a few more trades. Um, and then fewer trades due to consulting work, and that's what I just mentioned. And then rolled LEG to delay deep in the money. So sometimes I'll roll something way out. I've also done that with ARC. I rolled it out to 2024, and ARC keeps getting hit. It seems every day to go a little bit lower. But I think it's going to come back. I don't know. I still like ARC. I figure Kathy Woods and her relationship with Elon Musk may end up working out long term. I know they're buying more shares. So, and I know she's doing some kind of a YouTube channel with Elon Musk or some kind of a YouTube channel show. So I don't know. I'm hoping ARK comes back. So here we've got the total premium 2541, average 181 a trade. Dividends I did 922, and then for total of income for these two brokerage accounts was 3464. So not bad, a fairly good month, and it worked out well. Actually, April will probably be my biggest month because I think most dividends are paid in April. So March is not one of my highest dividend months. So that's it. Those are my trades. It's another good month, not as high as January and February, but part of that is because I've been so busy with consulting and doing other things. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this and have a wonderful day.